Hi, I'm Brandon. I love UpTV Christmas movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise UpTV Christmas movies.
Ho, 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 I'm Alonzo, and throw up on your television, and this
is the Deck the Hallmark Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, boy.
Happy Monday, another network. UpTV.
The good stuff, as some
The
call
good
it.
stuff. A movie that you could have watched on Philo during the holiday season.
You could have. Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank
Philo's
God.
got all those channels.
You wanna watch
Lifetime,
Hallmark.
hundreds of Christmas TV movies. You go to Philo, lowest price in the game.
In the game.
For all those channels, lowest price.
I gotta tell you this. This movie, I've gone into a lot of these movies blind, just kind of picking willy-nilly, try to get as many as possible.
We know.
I would hope.
Now this movie,
If you went through Unicorn for Christmas and was like, yeah, I'm still in on this.
this movie during the holiday season on Philo, I got an ad, commercial, if you will, for this movie. And the premise of two people being stuck in a house, I found to be very funny.
It's a good premise.
To
It's a good
get a
premise.
house.
Yeah.
To get a house. So this one I went into at least knowing what it was, which is not the case for most of the movies so far this year. And for that, you're welcome.
I am your welcome.
I am your
Yes.
welcome. I am
I
your
love
welcome.
Did you really know what it was, though?
I knew as much.
Did you know it was a Magic Santa movie?
No, I didn't know it was
Okay.
Magic Santa.
Okay, there we have it. Do you know that when he clicks his cane, gold shoots out of it?
Yes, I
course.
mean I know that about Santa.
Duh.
I know that about Santa, of course. Now this movie apparently originally went straight to DVD.
No
in,
way.
In 2021, and then got picked up for distribution in 2022, which is
Every time we do this, it's like, how have we not gotten a movie on TV yet?
well. In our defense, we
Roku
haven't
Channel is
tried.
waiting, I'm sure.
We haven't tried.
That's
so
true. We have not tried.
there is that.
Yeah,
There is that. But I like to think that we could if we really put our minds together.
I think we
and
could
went
too.
for it. Christmas in the Pines. Christmas in the Pines
This was
originally.
John Prine.
I know that guy. Christmas in the Pines originally aired on UpTV on November 5th, 2022, and it went a little something like this. Ariel is hanging out with her sister and her mom, and they're talking about Ariel's love life and how she just whatever, but I just want a nice Christmas. She gets very excited when she receives a call from someone named Erica, and she's like, I've got good news. This is going to be the best Christmas ever. And they also meet someone who he's in a Santa costume. This guy is Santa. He may be just playing Santa.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, later we meet Mr. Noel.
Yeah.
Completely different guy.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. And the good news keeps coming. She finds out that she is getting the new online Christmas morning article.
Yeah.
Yes.
Woo! What an upgrade.
Yes.
Man.
But the bad news is she has to write an article about someone who hates Christmas.
Like a Grinch?
Like a Grinch.
Oh, boy.
And Ariel's like, I don't know if this one's for me. But when an opportunity comes like this to write the new online Christmas morning article,
Woof.
you got to do
Man,
it.
did you win the lottery? Wow.
The next morning, she heads up to a mountain town in North Carolina. And it turns out that Ariel bought a cottage. Just a nice cabin in the woods.
That's right.
She goes inside. It's fully furnished. And she's like, this is going to be amazing. I'm picturing the Christmas tree right here. And this is where my family's going to eat. And it's going to be so wonderful. And it's at this point that a couple of fellas walk in.
Sure do.
A guy named Mark is there. And he's like, hey, I just bought this house. Scram. Turns out that the owner, Mr. Noel, accidentally sold the house to both of them. So the realtors go out there, they call Mr. Noel, and he's like, I don't remember who I signed first. So here be's the rules. This is a winner takes all, loser walks situation. First person to leave the premises, and we know what the premises are because it is outlined with candy canes and lights. Then you don't get the house. You forfeit your chance to the house. But also, if for some reason the two of you stick it out for 7 days, you both forfeit and you can't try again.
Loser walks.
Those are the rules.
Yeah.
Them the rules. I don't make them. Well, he did. So they got to figure this out. He decides, you know what I'm going to do? This is really going to drive her nuts. I'm going to invite my family.
Oh, man.
But she picks up what he's putting down, and she invites her family.
You just skip right over the phone subplot.
Her phone was dead, and she snuck into his room and charged it. So both families show up, and you're like, this is gonna be the antics. The two families butting heads. Instead, what you get is two families that could not love each other more. They're having fun. They're playing guitar. They're like, hey, man, that type of stuff.
Trout.
Catfish. Fishing.
Yeah.
It is awesome. Ariel finds Mark to be a little bit of a Grinch and decides, you know what?
Ooh, two birds, one stone.
I could write this article, Scrooges, about him. But then they start hanging out some more. And the feelings start, growing. And you're like, man, these two people might get together. They're having a wonderful time. And they decorate the house together. The families go and get a tree because they can't leave. They decorate the house together. It's great. And we find out that Mark is gonna leave. He's got to leave for Australia.
Yeah.
For work. For work. And he has to leave before the time is up. So
for work. So it's pretty much over.
It's pretty much over,
Yeah.
but let's stick it out anyway. We're going to do a nice turkey dinner, and it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
She finds out also the reason why he's a Grinch is because this is the first Christmas without his mom.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So she's like, you know what? I'm going to write a news story. I'm going to write a new one. Ooh, he's amazing. This is awesome. So her boss shows up with a USB drive and says, hey, I need the story.
Through that real quick, huh?
I need the story. And also, hey, are you Mark? Are you the Grump? Are you the Grinch? And he's like, this is what you've been writing about the whole time, huh? You've been using me for your story, huh? I thought we had something going on. And she's like, it's not what it looks like. And she gives him the laptop and says, just read it. Just read the story. And she decides also to make it better, she's going to leave the house first. So I know you're going to Australia, but I'm going to leave before you leave.
You do, to show you.
And he reads the story, and he's like, oh, my gosh, this is amazing. So he runs out. He says, don't do it. And so he runs over there, and he tries to leave first.
Yeah.
But turns out the border shifted.
Yeah, he was a few inches off. That's right.
So then she's able to leave first. But then they talk it over, and they decide, we're going to buy this house together. Yeah. The families can split it. It's going to be a whole family affair, and this can be our place.
Double family cottage. Saw them live.
Amazing. Whoa. Mr. Noel shows up, and he's like to her, was this the most amazing Christmas ever? And she's like, yeah, almost. And he's like, pop with his cane with magic gold dust. And Mark is like, I got a call. He goes over there. He doesn't even have to leave for Australia until the new year. And also, hey, his brother there, maybe you could go to Australia.
That's right.
Instead.
Clearly, that's what he's been wanting to do.
And the brother's like, yes, wonderful. And they and everybody's so happy about all this news. Santa is like, my job here is done. And the two lovebirds kiss. And that, my friends, was Christmas in the Pines.
We did it.
We did do it. We are going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to break this movie down with 4 segments here on
Deck the Hallmark.
Welcome back to Deck the Hallmark. Happy Monday. It's Christmas here every Monday. And today we're heading over to UpTV, Christmas in the Pines. Let's break this movie down. Let's start with a hot take. I'm going to start with Alonzo, my Christmas loving friend. What'd you think of Christmas in the Pines?
Oh boy. We have a lot of fun here on Deck the Hallmark. And over the course of these, weekly visits with you guys, we have seen movies set at Christmas parties that never leave the one house. We have seen hour-long films with 15-minute credit sequences. We've seen Waiting but Never Getting Dr. John.
Yeah.
I would watch any of those bonkers new movies again over this thing.
Yeah.
Which is like an SNL parody of a Hallmark movie. It is like the blandest, most boring, by the numbers. We're going to do as many of these tropes as we can squeeze in. We're not going to give you a single character who seems like an actual human being. It's just going to be blindingly white in terms of how overlit the film is and how it's cast.
Yeah.
If only they had called it "What Are You Doing in My House?" But apart from that, this was agony. This was one of the few times doing this with y'all where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't watch one of these a week if they're going to be this soul draining. Just listening to you do the plot synopsis was like I was having a traumatic flashback. So hated it.
Thank you, Alonzo. Let's go back to Crazy Town. Bran, are you there?
I'm here.
Bran, how'd you feel about the movie?
I loved it. Thanks for asking.
There we go.
I don't know if it's because it's April. I don't know if it's because
You're insane.
I've been biking.
Biking is in quotes there.
But I loved it.
You've been biking like this is a movie.
But I loved it. I loved it. I thought that this was an absolute blast. Is it bonkers new? Yes. Is that why I liked it? Yes. Santa, magic, wacky new. I'm here for it. I'd watch it again. Dan?
I'm pretty sure if we just put like a plate of crap on a table and filmed it for an hour 20 and then said there was Santa and magic in it and played public domain tracks for 80 minutes, that Bran would be like, yeah, it was super Christmassy. So yeah, give me more of that.
There would have to be lights and holly.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. In the background. This movie's really, really bad. I don't know if I'm with Alonzo that I would watch it over like Another Christmas or Unicorn for Christmas. I don't think it's there, but it is real bad. And I think what makes it so terrible is the premise is a fun idea for a premise. Is it stupid? Yes. But the idea that neither of them can leave the house, it's like they both have to keep a hand on the car and whoever.
It's hands on a hard body is what I was thinking of.
And it's a good idea for a silly movie. And instead, like Alonzo already mentioned, it is just, they're not spinning the wheel of all the Christmas tropes. They just spin it and they just start doing it before the wheels stop spinning. They do all of them and that none of them make any sense. It's barely held together. But there is magic and a Santa. And for some people, that's enough. For me, not even close. Really, really bad. Super disappointed in Bran for liking this movie.
Thank you. It's time for all the feels, not all the fears. It's all the feels.
Yeah,
where we talk about what in this movie gave us feels. We will try to limit it to one. Alonzo, what you feeling?
Well, I'll tell you, I was not feeling the central love story, mainly because the dude was one of those guys who was from that second wave of Glee that they tried to make us care about and we did not. I mean, and some of those folks did go on to do some interesting stuff. I'm forgetting the name of the performer, but the best friend on Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist.
Oh yes.
Came from that era
Yes.
of Glee. But this guy was just Mount Cream Cheese. I got nothing. So the closest I came to a feel in this whole dull movie would be the homemade ornaments. Like the fact that part of it being contingent that they had to stay in the house, they had to sort of improvise what they had. And so they're like finding garland. I don't know if that's how you make a lathe, but apparently you can make a lathe if you have these 3 things that are in the truck, that they make the wooden ball ornaments of, like that stuff. I was like, okay, this isn't the usual slapped up giant ribbon around it, kind of tree we get in these movies. This one actually feels like a product of necessity that they had to sort of make do with the things that they had handy. So that was kind of cool. That was the one time where I felt like this was giving me something that I hadn't seen a million times before.
I think someone in the chat saying that they are a real life couple.
Boy, move
over. That didn't
Vegas.
help my real life Christmas list or my grown up Christmas list, and I don't
or any of the Peña Vega movies,
or them either.
Stop. The Peña Vegas are a national treasure.
Name me one movie they've been in together by title.
New Year, New Me. They're in a new. No, what's it called? What's it called? They dance. They're dance. There's
you can't get help, Brandon.
Oh, cruise boat. Love on the boat. Love boat. The boat boys. Boats. Sea Turtle Twins.
I know the title.
Photography Mystery is all I got. So
Picture Perfect Mysteries.
Yeah, good one. The boat. Cruising
Love
at Sea.
Yeah.
That's what I said. 2 feels
National
first of all,
treasures. I just want to let you know.
Two feels real quick. One, I got feels when they went to go cut down the tree in the backyard, mainly because it made me think of my grandma and the time that I went into her backyard and cut down a Christmas tree and they got lost in the woods. But
you cut down an entire tree by yourself as a child?
No, with my brothers.
Oh, you all went.
Yeah, we went out into the woods.
Got lost?
I don't remember if it was just I somehow got separated. It was. I ended up on a road and everything was good.
You were abandoned by your siblings.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I was abandoned by myself. Guys, you know how I feel about Magic Santa.
Yeah.
It always works for me. It's always amazing. I love it.
Always amazing.
I just love it. He came in there, he tapped his cane, gold dust filled the room like we're in Bethel Church in California. It was just a magical time. I loved it. And anytime, really,
it's a good time anytime.
A good time anytime. Just Santa. I. Why are we not doing this more? What? Hallmark, as good as the progress we have made has been, we need more Santa.
Great.
Dan.
I do have one. And early in the movie, we have one of the worst caricatures of a big boss man, Jeffries, at the beginning.
Characters.
But you're right. No, I don't know what I was talking about. But I appreciate the fact that his reasoning for doing this is just, and I want to make sure I get this right, I love money. That's what he says. He literally says, why am I doing this? Because I love money. I appreciate just the straightforward honesty of, let's skip all of the other things. I love money. I love money. I'm a money boy. Money.
For those of you in the back row.
That's right. Yeah. If you've fallen asleep already in this dark office room where we can't pay the electric bill, I love money.
No,
he
loves money too much to pay the utility.
Now, where were you on the night of April 25th?
I love money.
I love money. I love money. I love money. What do you want from me?
I love money. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the Wait What's and What's Up here on Tag the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about Christmas in the Pines. Let's get to the Wait What part of the show. We're talking about what in this movie made us go, wait, what? Alonzo, were you able to dig a few out?
Oh, a couple. I'll tell you, I am not mad at a Santa Magic movie. Like I'm okay with that.
Snowed In Christmas is one of my favorite TV Christmas movies. It's Santa Magic.
Sure, good example. What's a little nuts though is to have Santa Magic in a movie that literally opens with an announcement at the mall reminding you that Jesus is the reason for the season.
Amen.
Now, I haven't lived in the South in a while, admittedly, but I don't think you ever hear that announced at a mall.
No,
That just seems
yeah.
And to then turn around and not only give us Santa magic, but also have this lady's idea of what a perfect Christmas is, and having it come down to like cookies and fireplaces and homemade ornaments, and no mention of like, oh, church or charity or any of that stuff. It's like, pick a lane, movie. I really would love that.
What you don't know, Alonzo, is this was a mall that was all run by Kirk Cameron. And so part of the requirement is every 30 minutes they announce the reason for the season.
All they sell is
very important.
Butter, cocoa, and bananas. But
That's right.
That's something else. I love how this movie takes a hard pivot from this is not how journalism works to this is not how real estate works
at all.
Usually you just have to settle for one or the other, but we get both of them in rapid succession.
We do.
And Dan, I was also thinking about that documentary Hands on a Hard Body about the pickup truck in Texas where the dealership does a contest every year and the last person standing with their hand still on the truck wins it. I was also thinking about Barbarian.
That came to mind too.
Kind of a similar plot where two people wind up in the same house because of an oopsie. So, that was hard to shake off.
Gosh, if this movie had gone that way, that would have been fantastic. To watch these two people die would have been.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean,
Magic Santa
level.
in the basement, And then I forget exactly where this happened, but I wrote down, thanks for repeating the plot, movie. We'd already forgotten it. Like there's some scene where they have to like go over this all over again. It's like, this is not that complicated. We're on board. We know what's happening.
And we get one of our favorite things where they give you a montage of scenes from the movie.
Oh yeah, the montage
seen.
of this movie was totally earned.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we needed every word of that.
Yeah,
every scene of it.
I don't know if both of the dads in this movie and Santa
have ever acted before?
Went to this. Well, Dan.
One of the dads was the oldest son on 8 is Enough back in the 70s.
Okay.
Oh wow, look at that.
I don't know if they all went to the sauna together. Their faces, and then maybe it was just the version we watched on Hoopla, but all of their faces were so red. Did anybody notice?
Real tan.
The dads in particular were like beet red, and I don't know what was going on. No one else looked like that. It was only for like people over 40. I don't know what the deal was, but it was very red and it did throw me off. Speaking of the dad, Mark's dad is talking to Ariel and talking about how the mom died, and he says, Mark's mom, my wife. Right. Okay.
Right.
That makes
just
me
to make sure
that
we
makes
were
me
above board.
That makes me wonder. Why do you say it? No big. I wasn't gonna wonder if you were the actual married to her and what the deal was there, but it was interesting.
Didn't want to pry.
No. At one point, she goes outside and Mark is working on the deck. And he's like hammering something like and he just has a level, and I don't know what he's hammering on, like the crossbar of the deck that is affecting the level. I don't know what he's concerned about with the level. He's just kind of out there hammering.
He's
stuff
got a level on the top of the top cross of this deck, and then he's working on something underneath it. And I don't know where you would need a level in that scene. Just to show you he's serious about construction, he brought his level.
Yeah.
He's a contractor.
That's right.
Exactly right. And also one of the guys had the tiniest axe I've ever seen. Dan?
Yes, briefly. And then the next
scene, very large axe.
I know they call it public domain because that means you can use as much of it as you want. But I feel like this movie tests the boundaries of that. I think I heard the first Noel 3 times. They use every possible public domain Christmas song that you could think of at least once. They are hammering it home every time there's a transition, every time there's anything, there is some sort of Christmas song in the background, and it gets old in a hurry. At one point, this guy is worried about snakes under the house in December
In the snow.
with a foot of snow on the ground. Guys, are you okay?
But a certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay.
There we go. That public domain moment was brought to you like the Hallmark.
By Christmas in the Vines.
By Christmas in the Pines. Guys, snakes are cold-blooded. They're not going to be out slithering around in the snow. We learned the word because I thought it was hibernate, but cold-blooded animals brumate is what they do. So like they're away, they're dormant in the winter. If you got snakes running around in a foot of snow, it's the apocalypse, and we got bigger problems than whether or not the water's running in the cottage you both have sort of bought.
It's as dormant as the broom in my college dorm.
I
didn't go to college.
Yeah, no, of course you didn't. Late in the movie, his dad goes out to talk to her because she's sad. He's mad at her about the article. And he sits down there and he goes, looks like it could snow. Maybe we'll have a white Christmas. There's a foot of snow on the ground. Like a full foot, bro. Like when you wake up in the morning, unless the snakes are slithering around and it gets to 90 overnight, you got a white Christmas. You got one. You kidding me right now? You kidding me with this? I know Santa's magical, but you still need lawyers to sign over a house. You still need those. I don't care how much magic and gold dust is in that cane. You can't be like, we could wait for the lawyers, but I've got the paperwork right here. That's not how that works. You've got to have somebody there to witness all of this stuff that's happening in a legal capacity.
Santa's a notary.
Yeah. Santa's a notary as well,
Famously.
which we all know useless.
No,
That's what Brandon would say.
Why did you say that?
Yeah, how dare you?
Weird.
These two people are looking remarkably well and doing remarkably well for 2 days without many amenities or food. Because she says, I had one meal, and she basically uses it like she cooks him part of that meal. They don't have running water for a bit. They have one outfit. They are doing remarkably well for having 48 straight hours with no like
They look
normal.
as good as we would.
Oh, I think we'd look better.
Sure. Well,
Because we typically roll in such a capacity that
That
it
is
looks
true.
like that's what we've been doing anyway.
that is true.
So, that does help. And
That's
then
why end of the
lastly-
marathon, we look amazing.
That's right. Oh, we look so good at the end of the marathon. I want some stills from every year of that. Oh boy. Lastly, you mentioned the montage, and there is a montage in this movie that is completely and utterly meaningless, but it's done over the narration of her reading the article that's going to be posted on Christmas morning, the Christmas morning
Yes.
article.
That is the
and-
absolute opposite of the thing that she was assigned to write.
Correct.
Right.
And I was listening to her read it, and I realized something very, very important. If you did not have that montage and read that article, you would think you were on drugs. It is, there's no like narrative to it. Like it starts like, and Mark lost his mom. And then after that, it's just like, and I learned that butterscotch is blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what? Like, if you were just reading that,
First
if
draft.
you had a newspaper and you were like sports, you had news, and live. Oh, this looks fun. What is, did I drop acid? Like it would not,
With
just
the visuals really help.
the
tell the
visuals
tale,
help fill in the gaps of
Right.
the fact that every paragraph of that thing is one sentence, and the sentence has no specifics in it at all about what happened.
though. Yeah.
It's just like very nicely poetic. And it doesn't make any sense. And that was something that fit this movie very well.
Daniel, if you think these movies don't appreciate the art of photography, don't even get me started on the art of writing.
Yeah. And to be fair, they did real estate worse than they did journalism in this movie, in my opinion.
It's neck and neck, but I'm
Like,
going to say yes.
the
you're
idea
right.
that two offers are accepted doesn't mean either one has bought the house. Accepting an offer doesn't sell the house. Like that's like early on in the
Yeah,
process.
did
you got
you
like,
cash two cashier's checks?
Yeah,
Like what?
yeah, you got to do like earnest money and walkthroughs and inspections. Like, give me a break,
Escrow?
people.
Yeah. It was great. Let's get to what is where we wonder what could have been. Maybe up against some critic. What should we still have? Alonzo.
Well, first, real quick, because this movie implies that everybody in Australia is getting to work on Christmas Day, an unfair assertion, and I want to promote one of my favorite holiday podcasts, if you ever listened to it, Christmas Podding. It's these two Australian, I guess they do radio, but they do an annual or a year-round Christmas podcast, and they're kind of bananas in the best way, and I adore them, and you'll get the accents stuck in your head. So check that out if you never have. But my what's up? You guys reviewed a film a few years ago called Once Upon a Christmas Miracle, or as Dan memorably
Christmas
refers to it,
Delivered.
Christmas Delivered. It's about
It's tea time, y'all.
a guy who gives half of his liver a transplant to the woman that he winds up marrying. And y'all conjectured on the idea of like how long into the marriage before he throws that in her face. First anniversary rolls around that he forgets. He's gonna be like, oh, well, I would have gotten you something, but I already gave you half my liver.
That's right. Exactly.
So this one, I'm thinking that once this relationship really takes off, at what point does she be like, well, I guess next time I make a wish to Santa, I better specify I wanted a man who was going to put the toilet seat down, because it just seems like you're just asking for trouble here. If this is your Santa magic guy, the second he lets you down, you're going to have issues with the man in the North Pole.
Of course. Absolutely. That's really good.
My what's up is
What up?
Has Santa done this before? This is a very, very specific way to get two people to fall in love. Does he have a lot of cabins just spread throughout the world in such a time as this to do the old double house purchase love? Put them together.
Double house purchase love. Put them together.
Has he done this before, or was this just? I mean, let's roll the die here and just see if it works out.
Roll the die singular. He's just rolling.
He's just one die. It's either yes or no.
All right,
it's such a specific way for two people to fall in love. I have to imagine he does this at least once a year. Dan?
One of the two real estate agents in this movie works for a company called Second Home Realty. And so I want to know why that's the name. Is this because it's such a great realtor that it's your home away from home? Do they only specify or operate with second homes? Like they're just doing cottages and vacation homes? It seemed like an odd name, and that was the best I had.
It's fair. That's fair.
Right.
We did, everybody. Congratulations. Another one down. Another one coming up next week. Next week, we're heading over to a platform called Zumo.
No, it isn't.
XUMO.
Sumo?
Sumo? This is a Zumo original.
Sumo wrestling?
It's two sumo wrestlers. They fall in love. My favorite Christmas tree.
Oh.
And it is with our guy, what's his name? Giles Panton.
You mean Giles Panton?
Yeah. Our guy Giles is in
Giles
this movie.
Panton?
Giles Panton's in this movie with Emma Johnson on Zumo. It's a Zumo original.
It's a Giles Panton, Emma Johnson Zumo original.
Zumo original.
Man.
The wait is over.
We're like, we got to save this one for late April.
It's a free platform.
Yeah.
So just go. I mean, listen, it's just out there.
Sumo.
I really want to zoom a zoo.
Let's save a few for next week. Shall we?
Sure. Yes. So next week,
I know all we're gonna want to do is a zumo, but we'll save it.
We're gonna zoom.
Zoom. My favorite Christmas tree is the name of this movie for next week. Can't wait. And I mean that sincerely. Until then, maybe we're the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.